Good. Why can't I see the live on our page? Just another refresh. Good. Good morning.
Good morning. You look mysterious.
I'm not gonna tell you. I'm on the countryside at a friend's house, very, very old house. I managed to find a room that looks somehow not so messy. It's extremely beautiful. I'm sitting and I just see a bee drinking from a flower. Lots of roses right in front of my window. How are you?
I'm good. I feel that it's a time for humility. On the one hand, really acknowledging the beauty that there is and the wisdom that is being revealed. But on the other hand, not trying to see the big picture, not trying to figure out anything. And maybe it's important for the subject that we're going to speak of, because the way we've been writing this book, and it's an ING process, it's not done yet, is because we are going through each and every moment of what's written there, and there's nothing written that we haven't gone through. So from my coaches, from your experience, from my life experience, from things that we've led in our lives or experienced in our lives, what's being written here is, in Hebrew we say with blood, in the sense of that it's part of me. It's part of who I am, of what my life is. And same goes for you, I think. So it's much more of a sharing, but a serious sharing, a studied, well thought of experience. But it's an experience and a sharing, not trying to look and say conclusive, I don't know, data but it's things that are really worth acknowledging. And once we acknowledge them, the abundance of who we are and of our variety can be manifested. Until then, we're in many ways just bumping into a wall time after time.
Something that I noticed this week was that we are so scared of opening our mouth and speak if we're not sure of what we're saying. I noticed that myself, how often it happens that I say something and after I say it, whether if I hear myself and then it makes me think, or if somebody replies to me and that makes me think, and what I just said is irrelevant for me too. and I noticed that I'm getting scared of the thought that somebody might, in Hebrew we say, catch me on my word, like, and then I thought,
hold me up to my word.
Yeah, like you said something and now you're saying something else. And it made me immediately thinking about our sessions, because we speak on the go. I mean, like you say, we're sharing. And on one hand, I see that it's tricky or risky, because people hopefully will listen to our sessions and do something with it. It will provoke them. They might ask questions. They might give answers to those questions. They might change things in their lives. But so beside the tricky part, I noticed how important it is to give the permission and to give the space to speak freely without, like you say, without offering conclusions. But just because when we speak, it gives us the space. It's like making another step towards the next thing I will see.
Yes.
The next thing I will learn, the next thing I will say. So I'm just I'm just empowering what you said just a minute ago, that this is ing talking. And I hope and I invite our listeners to take it like that. This is not something we used to. We used to listen to someone, trust what they say, like it, we don't like it, we agree, we disagree, we take, we reject, and everything is very fixed and structured and secure. That's not how we speak, and that's not how we listen.
Yeah.
Okay, that's our intro for today's session. The name of our session is Women's Illusion. Women's illusions. There are many of them. And I would like to take what you said about modesty and not trying to get the big picture, and stay on a very, very intimate, personal, even like tiny, I don't know, it feels tiny space within ourselves, within myself, and as a listener, within yourself. It might feel like walking in a circle, but sometimes walking in a tiny circle, it like gets you into some center.
Yeah.
And I wanted to tell you right before we started that I had the feeling you might want to coach me on this session. Not necessarily like buy the book, but take me beyond my edge.
Okay.
Because the topic of women's illusions is very strong and very dominant in my personal investigation in life, I'd say, with men and with myself, of course. So let's give a moment of saying what we mean by women's illusions. I wrote it in the post on Facebook, and I will read it so it will give us a little starting point. A woman has a strong inner picture about how a relationship can be, and maybe even how it should be. She will do everything she can to bring this picture to life and make it a reality. But is it just a picture, or is it a deep wisdom waiting to be fulfilled? What happens when something goes wrong, meaning when the picture doesn't fit what is actually happening? The pain is huge. On this 5th session, we will explore some of the illusions women create for themselves in order to live, or sometimes survive, in the space between their inner picture and life itself. So when I wrote it, I really noticed that I will talk about myself, like I said. I really live in the gap. There's a constant inner motion within myself of the vision, the knowing, the how it can be and how it should be. And there's me considering reality. We might call it compromising, aligning with the partner, which in my case would be a man. And there's a constant inner conversation of what shall I say? What should I not say? How should I behave? How should I not behave? How close should I get? How distant, how independent I should keep myself, and how devoted I should be. How much, to what degree I should be honest and truthful about how I feel or what I see in order to not be scary.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also noticed that all of this inner dialogue happens only because I have a wish or will, a goal to be in some kind of partnership with a man. Because if I didn't have this goal, I would just, be.
I want to interrupt you for a moment, okay? Because I want to go deeper into the question of what is an illusion. Okay, because now when you speak of it, it might sound as if you are already half laughing about it. So I want to get serious. When we say women's illusions, or even sometimes it looks to me more like living in a parallel world, within myself. First of all, it's something we do not, mostly, or most of the time, most people do not acknowledge that they are living an illusion, that they have created in their minds with their thoughts a world that seems to be true, but isn't. I say seems to be true because real, in a sense, it is. Because when we speak of something that's real, we're actually speaking of something that's that is tangible, that our senses and our mind can grasp. And when we live in illusion, we are living something that we can sense. Our feelings give account for it, our body reacts to it, and is also, in a way, a consequence of it. And the way we perceive the world is actually, in many ways, determines who we are.
Yeah, because it also affects the people around us, the way they treat back to us. Like the whole world kind of shapes itself according to our filters, to our illusions.
Which enhances and makes stronger the illusion itself. Because, for example, not speaking about women, for example, if I believe that I'm fragile and that the world is dangerous to me, then people will start treating me as something fragile. They won't speak spontaneously. They won't say what they really think. They won't, okay? It's that way. So actually, an illusion is something that is very, it has much impact on our lives, tremendous impact on our lives, but still, it is not true. And what I mean when I say it is not true is that it is created by our mind. Its building blocks are thoughts. and what they can perceive or convey. And since that is what we say about the world, this is the way we've created an understanding that we've created about the world, then actually it's not true, because the world is not that. That is a creation of ours. Sometimes it gives testimony to what really is, and sometimes it doesn't at all. But still, it's made out of thoughts, and that's why it's also fragile on the one hand, and it's deceiving on the other. It's self-deceit without knowing that, okay? So that's an illusion. So most of the time when I live this illusion, I think that I am living my life responsibly and awakened, although the opposite is correct.
Because I acknowledge that I'm fragile and I'm taking this in account, and I make sure people know it. Yeah, that would be what you think is responsible.
Yeah, so the reflection of the world also shows me that that's how it is. She's also afraid. She got broken. So of course we're fragile, okay? Because that's the way we see things. So when we speak in the book about women's illusions, we're actually speaking about the basic understanding and the basic ways of life that women adopted, thinking that is the responsible way, or that is the only way, or this is what a loving person does, okay, or a surviving person does, each one of them. And since we've not started that in 2021 or 2000, this has been going on since the beginning of humanity, then we have much proof that it is true, although it is utterly an illusion. And in the book, what we've tried to do is to point out a few, and we have now 20, I think. So it's a few of the major illusions that women have created for themselves, thinking it is the responsible, loving thing to do, okay? Actually, what it causes is pain, it causes fear, it causes, we miss out on the magnificence of our true nature, and we live out strategies and tactics and ways of coping instead of really living what we really are, okay, men and women alike. Okay, so when a woman creates an illusion, it impacts the man or the woman that are her spouse immediately, okay? Okay, would you like to say something before we plunge into examples?
Yeah, it will manifest itself now when we will look at the examples. But I wanted to say that there is something irreliable about living like this. Because when you are not being truthful to yourself and with yourself, and then you are projecting or you're presenting a certain character, it's really hard to trust you. It's really hard to run any kind of relationship or any kind of partnership, because all the time there's a feeling like our senses, our intuition is wise, and it's strong. So there's always something in us that tells us something's not real here. Like there's something here that is fake. And I'm not saying fake like in a judgmental way, but yeah, okay.
So there is this, and as a continuation of that, there is also the fact that relationships many times they look and behave much like some kind of an arrangement, some kind of you don't make me do something or see something or feel something, and I will not make you do something. So this intuition that you're speaking of, and this somewhere in me exists this situation that tells me that something is not right. It's not in its place. It's not living out its nature. That is something that is many times it is covered or hidden by these arrangements.
Yeah.
So a couple can live without ever noticing that that's what's happening. And they might even think, and that makes me the saddest, that this is what life is about. And this is what relationships are. Because this, in a sense, shallow, in a sense, distorted, in a sense, lacking arrangement it looks many times as if it is the only way to go about it.
Yeah.
So now we can either plunge into examples, or as you suggested, and tell me if it's good for you, I can coach you a small coaching, like just so that it looks not dramatic, because it's not dramatic in the sense that it's not that I need to free myself out of a prison cell, but it is very influential, these illusions. They determine our lives, actually.
I suggest we do both. We will plunge into give drinking from a flower.
Okay.
Examples, maybe 3, and then we will take it to my life.
Okay. Shall I do that, or do you want to read some?
If you have the document open in front of your eyes,
I have it in my head, in my heart, and in my
then
body.
please, you lead this part.
So one illusion that we can find in many relationships is the illusion of the woman that if she can carry on while this is happening, and this might be fierce anger towards her, making her or blaming her for whatever doesn't work, or criticizing her and saying that she's just not good enough. These things that happen in a relationship, or that may happen in a relationship, when she perceives them, when she suffers because of them, when she feels pain or fear or frustration or sometimes even despair, when that is inflicted upon her again and again and again, the illusion or the misconception that arises is that one of them that arises is that as a responsible person, if that doesn't ruin her or makes her fall apart, then she must continue, because this is the responsible, grown up, and even loving thing to do.
To take it.
Okay. So if this is what she thinks or believes, or this is what she was taught, and she now is determined to live and do whatever she's supposed to do, or whatever is needed. And if she has already children, then she's doing it also for the children. She will explain to herself that when that is inflicted upon her, anger, blame, criticism, saying she's not good enough, then she must either her responsibility or her role is either to correct herself and make herself better, or to suck it in, to just swallow it, as painful as it is, and make room for it in her body so that she can continue to either relax her spouse or promise him that she's going to be better or forgive him for what he did so that they can continue. The mind, when it takes over, or the mind, the way the mind itself works, the interpreting mind, what it is concerned with is the continuation, so that you don't feel pain and you don't feel death, and that's the continuation.
And also the continuation of the circumstances as we know it, because that's what we consider secure or safe. You know, I know it, so I don't make a mess. Like, that's how the interpreting mind tries to keep us.
And if it tries, you know, if it is concerned, or if it's really busy with making sure that we won't hurt, yeah, then actually what it does in that case, where the case that we're looking at now, is it teaches the woman to suffer pain, not acknowledge it, and then make believe that she's not hurting. Because she believes that if she will acknowledge, the relationship would fall apart and she would be ruined, okay, or left alone and
would be the one to blame.
Yeah, for ruining the relationship, for making it all go sour. So so the illusion promises that if she just continues, that's the little voice that whispers, it says, just don't give up, just go on, keep on going, keep it on, just don't stop, make it work, so that when anger or pain or guilt, insults,
ignorance,
to ignoring her, she says she would find explanation. So the first thing is to try to not feel the pain, which makes her unnotice what she really is. Then she's supposed to...
It makes noise. Okay.
Then she needs to get over it as fast as she can, okay? Because if she's down and she doesn't understand why, because she's already used to hear those sentences towards her, or she knows his look, yeah, the way his eyes look at her, or she knows how his back is turned, his or her, the spouse, then she must continue. And then when she must continue, she also finds explanations. Okay, the code is, you must understand. You must understand, this voice is telling her. You must understand that men are like that. You must understand that he's having a hard time. You must understand that he's afraid because his work or his job is not working as he thought it would, or is not sure that he won't be fired because
it's a hard period.
Or, you know, most women do that. Ask your friends, ask your mother, ask your grandmother. She would tell you that a good wife gets up in the morning and so actually I'm repressing whatever comes up, and I need to hold my chin up, smile, and make believe that everything is okay. Now, that's an important point, because the woman that does that really very deeply wants to believe that everything is okay, that this happens, it's an accident, it just happened once, it won't happen again. And if it happens again, of course, it's a period. And of course, she's maybe harmonica, you know, she's with hormones, she's after her period, before her period, whatever. But a good explanation can explain it away, and then she can continue. The truth is that, first of all, she's suffering. Second of all, is that that pain is actually pointing out to her that there is work that needs to be done, and there are words that are needed to be spoken. And there is a possibility with this spouse to open up something. But this is utterly unreachable, inaccessible for her, because she's determined to not feel, not see, and just play an image, or actually a role. It's like an actor in the theater of her life. So she continues feeling proud, and that's what's important about that. And when we say this, I think both of us are sad, because we know this. We can do exactly that or something similar to that, but we're proud because we made it work, and we made sure that the children won't suffer. We made sure that I won't be left alone again, that I made sure that I would be part of this world as it is. And it looks as if I did the right thing, but actually not acknowledging, going against my instincts, telling myself that my instincts are not correct and I cannot rely on them, but telling me the story that I wish to believe to be true. And then, since I'm repressing things in myself, trying to avoid them, then I'm not saying the truth. I'm not growing through the truth, but I need to put much more effort into this theater that I've been creating. And I haven't done anything to create a new reality or to come in touch with whatever I know that is within me. And after doing all of that, the symptoms in the spouse become stronger, because the game becomes, even more than before, the only game that there is. Okay, so he's like, or again, he or she are like pushed to the corner, playing the same role, like in an addiction, needing more of the same. So if he was putting her down, then he needs to put her down strongly and more fiercely, physically.
Yeah,
Okay?
it's like a vicious circle. And I hate to say that, but there's something like it's not always on like a high volume like we describe it at the moment. Yeah, it sounds like hard, and it can be, but it can also be the same dynamic, but on a smaller volume, like that. It's not everything you can see and feel in the relationship, but it's there, and it's sometimes, and like and what I wanted to say about this vicious circle, that if nobody wakes up from this game, we have like a horrible temptation when somebody is being is making themselves smaller than the other one. It triggers something abusive about them, and sometimes.
Yeah, but it does.
And I know it from both sides. Like if somebody is making themselves like constantly apologetic and over trying, and I kind of want to. Sometimes I would.
Yeah.
It might provoke something cruel in me.
And that's the vicious circle.
Exactly.
Then I also hate myself for being like that. And
exactly.
Then I myself, and then I go drinking, or I just prefer just not to be in touch with her. So I won't have to face this part in me again, or to see myself doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Let's put that now lay it on the table and then go to another. I'll just give one more example. The example of the woman who is taking the role of the therapist. Okay? We've grown, most of us, and excuse me for those who don't see life like that, but I think most women, most songs, most plays, most movies have grown, have taught us that women need men. Okay, that a woman is in a way lacking or in a way missing something unless she's with a man. She's complete only when she's with a man. Sometimes she's strong enough or she's secure enough only with men. It changes between people, of course, and also between cultures and even social stratas. It's like, it's different. But because of that, the woman feels that, again, not always, but women feel that they need to do absolutely everything to make sure that the man stays stronger and doesn't walk away. Okay, because by mistake, and it is by mistake, she thinks that only if he is strong, she is protected, and that only if he doesn't walk away, she is secure and whole. Yes, and whole and complete. So she does everything to make sure that that happens.
Would you say that is, sorry, would you say this is relevant or also for women that create relationships with other women? Is it like something that is between women and men, or is it something that women have having a spouse and the spouse can also be another gender?
I'm not sure about women with women. I'm saying that I'm not sure because women themselves, and that's what we talked about in the last session, the last live session a week ago, women, or what we call the FM frequency, is not, it is all the time emotion. It is all the time asking life to touch it profoundly so that it can, reveal itself to itself or herself to herself. So I think, and this is my experience, but I'm not saying it is a big picture, I'm just sharing. When a woman reaches an edge, and she says she can't bear it anymore, or she won't take it anymore, and so on, she has where to go inside her to see something that is wiser, or to meet someone in herself that is wiser, that is more, that is free, that is unconditioned by the same conditions that her mind and her image are conditioned by. So if there's a woman on the other side of me, or in front of me, then I think it's different. I've seen women reach edges. I'm coaching many couples that are both women, okay? I see women get really angry and very painful. The relationship of human beings carry those things. But I see that when a woman reaches her limit or what she thinks she cannot bear, a moment later, she's suddenly either laughing or crying in a way that washes it away from her. And then suddenly she can put her hand on her spouse's leg and they know that they're together, or just putting her hand on the sofa so that the other one feels that she's like there, okay? Between men and women, it's much more difficult. It's harsh. It's harsh. And that is why it is also very, it's more painful And even more, or more importantly even, it holds within itself despair. Because you reach an end, and as a woman, you don't feel that there is someone that you can be with. So I'm coming back to the therapist.
Yeah, thanks.
So a woman's fear, again, it's a sharing, it's not all women. A woman's fear when she adopts, a woman's fear in many times, in many cases, is that she'll be left without a strong man next to her or with no man at all. Okay, because her safety and the possibilities open for her in life are determined by that, mistakenly. So one of the illusions or one of the strategies that women use sometimes is that they become their spouse's therapist, meaning in that way she doesn't have to meet or to encounter her fear because she sees that he's weaker than she thought. But in a way, she creates a play in which she is the strong one there, making him strong again. Okay, that's the dynamics of the therapist. So she may, for example, say to him that he is in danger, that she sees that he's really going through a crisis, enhancing his crisis, telling him what to do and telling him that, like in that way of, speaking to him, you must do that. If you don't do that, you know what happens to you every time. We've gone through that. Don't make me go through that again. That kind of, and then she tells him what to do. The problem is not that she's telling him what to do. That might be also smart sometimes. The problem is, or the consequences come from her being afraid, and instead of sharing her fear, acknowledging it and sharing it with him, which may deepen the relationship, okay, and awaken her from that illusion that he will be the strong one who will, fight all the big dragons and so on. Instead of that, she's recreating the game, which is absolutely nonsense. Men do not protect women. Okay, it's nonsense. A woman does not need protection. Okay, it's nonsense. And when she acknowledges this and will acknowledge her fear, he will also be able to speak about his fear. Because if he'll say, don't worry, I have it, I've got it, don't worry, I'm taking care of it, rest. Then she'll look at him and she'll say, after living with him for 5 years or something, are you really? And by saying that, she's not treating him with no respect or with disrespect, but she's actually allowing him to be human, allowing him to question this question by himself. And when that happens, sometimes he will say yes. For example, in Israel, we go to the army at the age of 18. So actually, truly, men, much more than women, because they go to fighting units and so on, they protect me. But does that mean that they will protect me from my fears or from my pain, or they can make me certain that I won't feel pain when I'm with them? Okay, we don't need to be too old to know that that's nonsense, and that illusion causes much pain and anger, and also many men feeling that something unfair is done to them, because what the heck? How is he supposed to protect me all the time? Who invented that crazy idea? And he is sucked in by this idea. And I am too afraid, if I'm going through that illusion of being a therapist, I'm making him like an actor in my play. And he's not an actor, he's a free person. And he's human, he's allowed to have all the feelings in the world, the whole range. So that's actually the big invitation of awakening from an illusion. But if she does continue and he allows her to, then in a way he becomes an invalid. He believes that he's lacking. He believes that he's in danger. Sometimes he believes that he would go nuts, that he would go crazy if he doesn't do something. Sometimes he believes that he would, just dwell in depression if he doesn't do that. And then even if he's not in depression, he would have like this intimidating idea that if he does do whatever he should be, or do or be whatever he should be, or follow her instructions, then he would get lost. Despair, depression, living next to life or besides life, not really living them, not being able to be who he really is. It's a whole game that is based on an assumption that cannot be. Okay, we're never lacking, and we never need someone to be there in order to be whole. I will just say one more thing. When we are awakened from the illusions, not only can we live now truthfully and simply because we can be who we are, but we can also prosper in the sense that we can now reveal ourselves to ourselves thanks to the other. Actually, we move from looking at relationships as an arrangement of protection, and protection and making me whole from fear. Actually, we move from a relationship based upon fear to relationship based upon love. Okay, but we need to go through these illusions. That's why it's a big chapter in the book, because I need to look me in the eye in order to see that there is an illusion, and then to go through it to see how strongly it affects me and how does it manage to affect me so strongly. Okay, what do I believe? Where does it tempt me to believe that this is who I am and this is how it is?
Yeah. So the first challenge is to acknowledge to myself that I have this thought that I need him or her. Because a lot of people, I think maybe especially in my generation, or at least I will speak from my realm. Oh, there are geese outside. That many of us are so strong in the story, we tell ourselves that we don't need anyone, and that freedom actually is the main thing, like the opposite of neediness. And then we have like double story to get over, because the truth is that we feel that we really need someone, but we are telling ourselves we don't. And then, we need to get over two stories. So just saying that,
Actually, one story that it's one story with two manifestations, because the story is that we are lacking, okay? Or we may be lacking.
Yeah,
So
that's the basic.
if I need my freedom to make sure that nobody takes control over me, or I become dependent on anyone, or anyone can hurt me by leaving me, so I want my freedom, or I believe that I must have someone, otherwise I'm missing or I'm in danger. But it's the same story, which is an illusion in itself, meaning saying I'm lacking, and in that sense, I'm not whole. And if I'm not whole, and the world is dangerous and complex, and it's about coping, then I must become whole. So I need this missing part. I need this protection. I need this. So all actually, each and every one of the illusions that we've the exact word is not illusion. The exact word is, in Hebrew, the word is tatua. It's not an illusion exactly. It's much more like, it's like you look in a mirror and it shows, and the mirror is not a mirror, but it's like something went wrong when manufactured. Then it won't show you things as they really are, but in a distorted way. Okay, intentionally or unintentionally. But this is the way that it is. It shows me and the world not as we really are, but as this way that the lens is made is what we see. So that's the name of what we have been talking about. It's not only an illusion, it's this distorting lens that actually makes us think that something is that way when it's not.
Yeah, it's a bit misleading.
Yeah, but not
But not
intentionally.
intentionally, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's an unintended distortion of the way things are by their nature.
Yeah.
So lens just shows us not what really is. It shows us what it is able to show us because it is distorted, because the way we've begun this journey is based on a mistake.
On a mistake that we are lacking. And we need some sort of set of conditions, each one with their own set, in order to be complete, in order to be safe, in order to be whole, in order to manifest ourselves in our best.
Great. So since we have 5 minutes, let's just, if it's okay with you, and if not, I'll be glad that you do it to me. To just for a moment, like very, very tender shower, just let's ask 2 questions just to observe, and then we can leave today with these questions. So the first one is, now, if you take like 2 or 3 big breaths, so that, let your body say yes to life, give room to every organ. Look inside you and see what is the feeling that you can see, coming towards you or calling for your attention. In one word.
Now I feel peace.
Can you say something more about this?
The peace comes with a thought that says, if you only practice knowing that you're not lacking, if you will keep remind this to yourself and live according to this, punkt, like sort of You'll be fine.
What do you mean fine? What would it do to you? Or what would you say about your life?
That I might not have certain things that I want or would want, but love, like you said, love will manifest itself. Love will show the way. Because if you're not coming from a need, you're probably coming from love.
Okay, wait. So when you say this, and I repeat this, you want to, you can see an ancient wisdom speaking from you on the one hand, and on the other hand, you can also see how the mind is misleading. So let's look at them both for a moment. So the feeling is of peace, and the thought says, if I would be able to, or as long as we look at our thoughts, being able to discern those illusions and know that we are whole, then nothing can take away from us the knowing or the living like something that is whole and complete and love. Right? Is it accurate enough?
Yeah, and we will live out of this and not out of fear and needing and
yeah. So the truth says, I'm sorry, what's true about what you're saying is that it is that way. When we know that we are not lacking and then we don't argue with life. We're not in any urgency or effort, or we're there. That's what we usually call peace. Okay? So that's true. But the condition that you put, okay, as long as I, or only if I see the missing, know that I'm not missing, and so on, that is not true, because you are whole and complete and miraculous, even if you think differently. Yeah. Even when you argue and you suffer, and even if we cause suffering, okay? I once coached a woman who was, as you said before, very beautifully, very subtle. She wasn't, their relationship didn't have vulgarity in it. They didn't scream, they didn't say harsh words, but the silence was freezing, okay? And I asked her to pay attention to what happens when he enters the house coming back from work. Usually she's there with the children already, and then he enters, and she saw that she's turning her side to him. Okay, she perceives herself to be a very strong woman. She holds high positions wherever she goes. People listen to her. She's influential and everything. But when he enters, this is the motion that she does. She's like protecting herself. If she would think that she needs to stop thinking that she's in danger in order to have peace or to be love, then she needs to do something with him, or she needs to do a lot of work with herself. And until then, she lives with no peace. Okay? With no love. She's afraid, and she's also attacking herself and so on. But if she would learn that when he enters and she sees he's already tied up and his anger is there and he's about to erupt, in every moment, about something the children did or something that she didn't say, and so on, then even if she still does like that, she can know that she is not lacking and can never be lacking. She can know that she is whole and complete, and nothing being said or done to her can change this, even not her if she wishes to. And some of the illusions or the misleadings that we've talk about sometimes wanting to be less, wanting to be inferior. Okay? Even if that is her desire, it cannot happen because we're not, thank God, we're not able to change our nature. So that the important thing to know, or the beautiful thing to know, is that the fact that we are strong, the fact that we are whole, the fact that wisdom, ancient, beautiful, simple, natural wisdom is our nature, is unconditional, and nothing can change this. So whatever comes, I can go within myself to that acknowledgement, and also to that power or peace or beauty, and from there live in the next moment of my life. It's not that I need to do something in order to get there. It's me. It has ever been me from the beginning and will ever be. Okay?
Yeah, but to live from there, like you say, make my next action from there, I do need to, even for a second, remind this to myself. Because yesterday when I laid in bed and I cried, not a lot, but I cried because I was sad, because I was alone and I missed my ex-man. And I even thought about texting, like, which could have been fine. But I had the little space within myself to not act necessarily out of this fear. And I know very well the feeling of acting out of this place. I know, and it's fine. I'm not less of a wonder. But practicing this, also practicing the, like, acting out of fear, acting out of neediness. Say, I'm not saying this in any judgmental way. Having this little space within myself to wait a second, spend a moment in the pain, spend a moment in the sadness, in the fear, in the feeling of neediness, and meet yourself in the next moment. This is something that nobody taught us. And I think this is the thing that can get us out of this vicious circle within, first of all, within ourselves. And the space is the space between knowing that I am this thing, even if I don't feel like this at the moment. I am this wonder, even if I feel like shit, and feeling like shit at the same time. That's yeah.
Maybe that's the time to say, before we conclude, that is what the book, what really is about. This, it's we have this conversation. It's not exactly practicing, it's going back, doing it again and again, but not doing the same thing. Each time I come and I feel what I feel and I see what I see, and the amount by which I remember the truth, what I really am, and the measure to which we believe other thoughts, saying other things, changes from time to time. So it's not doing the same thing, but it's stopping and doing whatever. And that is maybe also the time to say that through our website, you can find coaches that would do exactly that with you concerning relationships, men and women relationships, and not only these relationships, because actually everything is relationship, also with nature, also with animals, everything is relationship.
Yeah, with work, I can feel shitty about my art, just as I can feel shitty about my spouse.
Yeah.
This is still
So,
the same space within myself that I always practice.
Exactly. So that's also possible to find in our website and then start going. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.